Hello and welcome to the Inquiring Cat Does Recruitment channel, when this week we're going to be looking at the question of interview questions. And regardless of whether you are a senior candidate or somebody starting out on your career, here are some hot tips to just make you think a little bit about how you tackle those interviews. One of the most popular questions asked at interview is, what are your weaknesses? And I'll come on to alternatives to that in a minute, because it is such a hackneyed question. A lot of recruiters are now not asking it, but they're asking what I would call curved ball questions, and you need to be able to think on your feet to answer those. But first of all, let's talk about the classic question, what are your weaknesses? And the typical response of many candidates is to pause and hum and ha and desperately think of something to say. Well, you should go to the interview armed with a good answer, and I'll come on to that at the moment. But what you absolutely should not do is give the impression that you are a perfectionist, because people don't want to hire perfectionists. They want to hire people who learn and change and who are self-aware. So the worst answer is to give is that you're a perfectionist, because it implies that you'll probably be late for delivering against deadlines, that you are obsessed with detail beyond what is reasonable. And very often the people who give the impression of being perfectionists are people who are very strong academically, and they get their dopamine fix from passing exams and tests. But in the real world, your employer wants you to be fleet of foot, fast and efficient. And that means that sometimes things will not go according to plan. So it's much better, if you're going to answer that question, to come prepared with an idea of something that you've done in your career. And if you can't think of something in your career, because maybe you're starting out in life, it is going to be something that you've done in a project or at university, that you did not go according to plan, and what part you played in that happening, what you learned from it, and how you corrected it to ensure that it wouldn't happen again. That is much more interesting and shows a degree of self-awareness that people will be looking for in you as a candidate. And also, by admitting that you were involved in something not going correctly, it also implies that you're not going to be one of those people who promptly blames everybody else on the team for something that's gone wrong, rather than taking personal responsibility. So I think that's an important thing to go prepared to your interviews with. Now, the curved ball issue is an interesting one, because you should be able to think on your feet, and that is a quality that employers look for, providing the answers you're going to give are not inappropriate or BS, as they say. What would you do if the interviewer said to you, what is the happiest moment in your parents' life? Where would you like to go on holiday most, and why? These sort of rather strange questions that you wouldn't normally get in an interview are designed to see how fast you're able to respond with a cogent and meaningful answer, rather than just waffling away trying to think up something to say. So go prepared to your interview. Think about the questions that are likely to be asked, and go with some questions of your own. Most interviewers will say at the end of an interview, have you got any questions you'd like to ask me? And if you don't have any, it implies that you haven't done a great deal of research about the organization, its structure, its culture, what its longer term plans are, its strategy. These are all legitimate questions to ask, and will indicate that you are interested in these subjects. And in fact, you might have read their annual report. I would recommend, wherever you can get hold of an annual report, reading it and finding something to ask the interviewer about that's relevant to their organization that you had picked up in the annual report. It shows a good degree of interest. Depending on how sociable the meeting is, for instance, if they do start to ask you about your pastimes outside work, I covered that subject in my previous episode, but they may ask you that. And if you have been onto LinkedIn and looked at the sorts of subjects they are following on LinkedIn, you may well find that you have something in common, or not. But you might be able to open a conversation, which is a better format than just an interview, by asking them curiously about something they are interested in. If their LinkedIn profile doesn't reveal anything, then what you can do is just Google them. And if they are a senior person that is interviewing you, the chances are they are involved themselves in something outside work. And it may come up that they are on the captain of the local golf club, or that they are involved heavily in some local charity. And if that is the case, if you get a chance to discreetly comment on that during the interview, again, it shows you've done your research and you've come well prepared to the interview. And all those things will score you some really good brownie points. So I hope those are helpful tips. There's more coming. If you like this kind of stuff, then don't forget to like and subscribe. And there will be forthcoming episodes. We'll have some more cat chats coming up with Sir Anthony Selden, with Sally Phillips, with James Cunliffe, and others in the months ahead. So we look forward to seeing you next week with some more ideas. Take care now and enjoy the rest of your day.